God of War Valhalla is huge when it comes to the references. A tale full of passionate romance, intense drama, high stakes, and primarily focusing on the journey of Kratos and the decisions he encounters. In God of War Valhalla, Kratos gets a letter nailed to his door with vague instructions. Curious and intrigued, the Ghost of Sparta and Mimir set sail following the directions left on the letter. Eventually, they find themselves on the sandy beaches of Valhalla, and from there, their journey begins. Valhalla is an interesting realm. It is very similar to Helheim. The realm uses memories of what was and what will be to help grow and challenge those with doubt or inner conflict, so they can master thyself. To put this in simple terms, one must not be sorry, they must be better. Where Helheim torments its inhabitant with visions of its past, Valhalla challenges. You can defeat your past, you can learn to accept, to love, to forgive, you can be better. These are challenges Kratos must face if he wishes to master thyself within the inner sanctums of Valhalla. He must face his greatest fears. He must accept who he once was so he can forgive himself, so he can love what's yet to come. Kratos has always been a misunderstood character since the start. Blinded from his rage and bloodlust against the gods, it's all anyone could see. His actions passed down from the pantheons in history as some of the most brutal and darkest deeds. Kratos was nothing more than the god of war, a god of pain, fear, darkness, and death. During his rampage, he was the destroyer, and that's all he knew. That's all he had left. During the Greek saga, we witnessed Kratos lose everything, his soul, his family, his home, his humanity, and in the end, after everything was destroyed, he still attempted one last effort of good. Kratos, behind all his rage, was much more than what we all saw on the surface. In God of War 1, he wasn't a bloodthirsty killer. He was a man who was robbed of his family and his humanity, still bound by the chains of his oath to Ares, haunted by the visions every night. Kratos was depressed and wanted to be at peace. Even in his attempt of taking his own life, the gods wouldn't let him rest, for they had much planned for the Ghost of Sparta. In God of War 2, we watch as each battle grew with Kratos as the god of war, the more of what little humanity he had left began to slip away. Though war was all Kratos had, the gods refused to remove his nightmares. They refused to let him rest. War was like alcohol to Kratos. It took away the pain, only for a moment, but every time he stopped, the pain would return, twice as hard. And that's all he had. He didn't have Mimir by his side, or Atreus, or Freya. The man he once was didn't have anyone to guide him. In God of War 3, we witness all the build-up of everything Kratos had endured from the previous game and the PSP games. The loss of everything finally flowed within Kratos, which sparked a bloodlust for endless chaos. The humanity was gone, and what was left was darkness in his wake. We watched as Kratos murdered countless innocents and anything and anyone in his path until he achieved his vengeance. In the end, peace never arrived, but hope remained. Pandora's message still lives on to this very day. She saw a change within Kratos where he did not. Even within his bloodlust, for a moment, Kratos' humanity began to bloom, like a flower. As he spent his time with Pandora, Kratos continued to see his own daughter within her. Kratos wasn't a monster. He was a mourning father. He was done wrong by so many, never given the chance to breathe, never given the chance to grow. A weapon made by the gods. Even with Pandora's death being in vain, her message was not. In Valhalla, we learn Freya has asked Kratos to be the new Norse god of war, to help lead and guide the people of Midgard in the Nine Realms, to rebuild and to be better. This caused Kratos to run away to Valhalla, to face his fears and to be better, and to better himself in order to be worthy of the title again, a title he has spent so many years running away from. There is a moment in Valhalla where we find ourselves in the Chamber of Sacrifice. And in this moment, Kratos walks himself into the cage and will set himself ablaze. Now, Helios tells us maybe you should put something you value most in there. But I don't think that's true. Because why would Kratos value himself? Kratos clearly hates himself. He wants to be better, but he doesn't believe in himself. I think, personally, that this moment is so Kratos can live the pain that that soldier felt, to feel what he felt, to embrace it, to accept it. And once he passed on, he ascended to the higher levels of Valhalla. After all, Valhalla is all about facing your fears, facing your sins head on. When he reaches the inner sanctums of Valhalla, he comes across the Norse god of war Tyr. With each session with Tyr, Kratos is revisited by another memory of his past, but Tyr puts a new perspective on his action. Where Kratos only saw and relived the wrongdoings of his actions, Tyr shed light on the fact that if Kratos never did these actions, the consequences that would have unfolded would have destroyed all he loved. Kratos had no way to predict what would happen in the future. Kratos needed to see his past from a different perspective in order to love and forgive himself, in order to grow and move on, to separate the chains that had bounded him to those memories, to let go of the doubt and fear. He can be a leader. At the end of Valhalla, Kratos opens the doors to his final fear. He faces with the monster he had been running from since the very beginning. He faces himself, the ghost of Sparta, the god of war. This scene is full of emotions and deserves to be played by itself.
I remember how it felt to take that throne. All that it meant. And all that it did not. A god of war. God of pain. Of suffering. Of destruction. And the one said I chase redemption that I know I can never deserve. What does that make me? God of fools. A god of... hope. When all else is lost. You lost everything and everyone. You became... There is no forgiving you. You chose! I chose. And now, should I, this same man, should I sit, take, proclaim, lead, place myself in service? In service? Should I lose everything and everyone? There's to be enough left inside so that I do not become you. I do not know. But I have hope. You are cruel and arrogant and selfish. But you are more than that. You have always been more than what others saw. You are more than that.
What I love here is that Kratos, while confronting himself and explaining that behind all the selfish, evil, and chaotic rampage, there was so much more within him. There was hope. Kratos had a choice, and a choice he had made. No longer a god of war, but a god of hope. Kratos takes a sit on his throne, and the camera fades to black. Kratos has been through so much character development since God of War 4. And many don't realize it, but he also had character development since God of War 1. But the man Kratos used to be and the man Kratos is now are completely different. Where now Kratos shows empathy and love and kindness where he did not before, mainly due to the fact of those around him, and mainly due to the fact his deep passion for his son. Kratos is a deeply flawed character, but he is amazing because of his flaws. Every detail on his body tells a story, from the tattoos, the ashes, the scars, the wounds, everything. And the more I dive, the more I find fascinating, even with being with this franchise for as long as I have. Kratos will forever be an amazing character, and I cannot wait to see where he goes on next. I have some theories, but we'll leave those theories for another video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. I make live streams, gaming content, animations, and video breakdown analytics. Have an amazing day.